Welcome back to Coffee Unlimited with J and D. I'm here with my very good friend Janelle Acker, who is in Vancouver. I'm in sunny San Diego, and we are here having another one of our conversations that are candid, unfiltered, unscripted with you. And we're excited to be talking about this Japanese tradition I grew up with called Osoji. Osoji, I believe. I don't think it's GIA. Osoji, Osoji. But it's something that my mom would do every year as we would close out the year in preparation for the new year. And Osoji means to clean, but it's not just like a regular cleaning of your dishes or doing your laundry. It's that deep clean that you do not only physically or in terms of aesthetics of your home, but it's also energetically. So deep cleaning of some of the relationships that you know are really not serving you anymore. Maybe there's some friendships out there that you're like, I have history, but we really don't have anything in common anymore. So it's about kind of letting those go.
Mm.
And so that you can really step into the new year with this fresh, clean state, new possibilities, and not have this residue of the past lingering around. So that's what I'm working on right now. It's early December at the time of this recording. And Janelle and I thought, let's talk about this
Absolutely.
tradition of, yeah, Osoji.
Yeah, you briefly, I haven't heard what your whole process is, but you mentioned that you were going to be doing this, and I was super curious because it sounds like a really healthy thing to do at the close of a year and really create space for some new things to happen and to enter our lives in the new year. So, Danielle, what is your process? So have you actually started it yet? How long does this process typically take and what does it look like for you?
I mean, I guess the length determines, I mean, it's like how much you have to clean up is going to determine
Mm,
how long it's going to take you. Maybe
hmm
you have like a garage full of old things. So,
hmm
maybe you could have started in the summertime. But I think if you can just start to clean out like the closets, your taking things to Goodwill, maybe just starting there, doing a bit of a purge. You can do a little bit every single day. And so I actually haven't started yet. I thought, okay, it's December 2nd now. I really need to do this because I was looking at my closet. It's looking pretty full. Then it's also finances too. It's like, okay, making sure that all credit cards are paid, that I'm not going into the new year with any kind of unnecessary debt.
Mm,
And then also, I
wow.
mean, I talked about this on my Instagram post, and I think I mentioned this to you too at one point, Janelle, but about being in my early 20s, and I had this relationship, which I'll put in quotes because it was very loose. I wouldn't even call it a relationship. This guy I was casually, very, very casually seeing, and I just knew this wasn't something I wanted to, have into the new year or like have a real relationship with. I didn't want to have a real relationship with him. And my mom knew it. And she was like, hey, when are you going to dump this guy before the end of the year?
You just soji'd him right out, didn't you?
I'll soji him right out. I thought, you're right. I don't want this
Yeah.
guy lingering around in the new
Yeah.
year. I just want to be able to start fresh and not be in some sort of loosely committed, dead end nothing.
Right.
Did I explain that? Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I sound like a real bitch. But yeah, if you know it's going nowhere and you don't want it to go
hmm
anywhere, get rid of it.
Right. Just start. I think we could all just start making a list right now. People that we that might need to cut out of our lives. Friends or acquaintances or yeah, even maybe more. But I think that's super healthy. No, you don't sound like a bitch. I think it's super healthy to take stock of what is occupying our time and energy, and is it still, or are they still serving us? But yeah, so you know what? I want to go back to the decluttering thing because you
Mhm.
really caught my attention with the decluttering when you talked about the garage and things like that. I am really motivated to drastically declutter our house again. I go through these phases. I think I've talked about this many times on the podcast. I go through these phases of decluttering, and then somehow things come back into the house. But we always have to start with clearing things out. And so I think what I'm going to do this year is get a bunch of boxes and try keep a box by the front door and try to every single day maybe fill the box. And at some
Oh.
point when I'm heading out of the house to pick up the kids from one of their many activities, I'll just pop all the donation items at various Goodwill centers or donation centers. Another thing that I saw that sounded pretty motivating and interesting was to make kind of like a bingo card almost, just to gamify it a bit, but
Hmm.
where you have different spaces of, something might be, 20 clothing items and something else might be 40 things from the bathroom or, 15 kitchen utensils. And basically, once you collect that amount, then you cross it off and you just kind of gamify it a bit. And I thought that could be fun to do with the kids actually
Oh,
for
yeah.
their things that are around the house, whether it's sporting equipment, clothing, games, things like that. So I'm
Mm.
trying to source different motivating ways to declutter the house. Do you take it room by room? How do you go about cleaning out your house and removing items?
I mean, if it were up to me, I probably would have a huge mess for about a month because
Mm.
I'm the kind of person where I'll start in the pantry and then not completely finish it and then look in my closet and be like, "Oh my gosh, this looks terrible." And then I'll put the all the clothes on the bed and then I'll go to like the study and then do the same thing
Yeah.
there. And Scott's always been like, "Can you just do one room at a time?" So now what I have is something kind of similar to what you were talking about in terms of having a box by the door. I do
Mm.
have a bag in my closet.
Mm.
So yeah, I
I
just
see.
start filling things in. And Blanca's actually really good at getting rid of clothes. But the problem with her is that she also buys a lot of clothes. I'm like, can you can you stop something here? Like
Yeah.
like I love that you're purging, but then you're also buying all new outfits.
I think we all do that. I think we all fall into that trap.
Yeah.
Can we also talk a bit about cleansing, maybe the non-physical or the
Mhm.
non-tangible? I forget where I heard this metaphor. It might have been in a leadership workshop in the past, or maybe it was when I was down in Ojai. But there was something where we had to imagine that we were looking out a window and it was covered in dirt. And the dirt represented our negative thinking, which then our negative thinking blocked the beautiful view outside. So
Mhm.
let's say you're in a building and it's gorgeous outside, a beautiful, sunny, maybe spring day, and there's flowers and butterflies, and it's just beautiful. And you're inside, and your windows are just covered with dirt and grime, and you can't see the beauty. And so the metaphor being all of your negative thinking does that on a daily basis, and you don't even realize it because you've got all this negative thinking and this negative mindset that then covers your glasses, covers your window, covers the lens through which you see the world, and you're missing out on all of the beauty that is around you. And so I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like, how do I bring back more positive thinking, but also more positive outlook on life so that I can truly embrace the joy and happiness and beauty that is all around. And I'm curious what you think about that. Like what do you think about as we end this year and we're going into a new year and we want to release some of these things that aren't serving us physically and mentally, how might you approach um, wiping away the dirt and the grime that shades us from the beauty around us?
Wow, that is so deep, Janelle. I mean, we went from just like giggling about dumping ex-boyfriends and emptying our garage to like, wow, okay, let's clean these glasses so we can see the beauty of the world.
Mm.
When you
Hmm.
were talking about that metaphor, I feel like there's a lot in the philosophy of yoga about this.
Hmm.
So there's
Hmm.
Purusha and Prakriti, and Purusha is pure consciousness.
Hmm.
So that's like us being able to clearly see what's in front of us or outside of the building, as you were mentioning. And
Hmm.
then Prakriti is matter, everything else outside of consciousness. And our work is to clean those lenses that we're continuously wearing. And I would say it's on a daily basis. I mean, if we're dealing with some trauma, there's healing that needs to consciously occur on a daily
Hmm.
basis, right? Like we need to
Hmm.
be cleaning that mind space daily in order to be able to see the beauty through those clear lenses. There's a quote by BKS Iyengar: yoga
Hmm.
doesn't change the way we see things, it transforms the person who sees.
Oh, wow.
Isn't
Wait,
that,
I gotta absorb that again. Can you say that again?
yoga doesn't change the way we see things, it transforms the person who sees.
Wow.
And I think he put that in such a profound way of like when we do that cleaning, that energetic cleaning, we are transformed so that we see the world as abundant, joyful, kind. Not that we're in this like spiritual bypassing space, but we're able
Hmm.
to see the good even in darker situations.
Hmm. And you brought up trauma. I feel like everything comes back to trauma, right? When we really think about the origin of our fears and our negativity and our distorted views of
Hmm.
what's happening around us and the stories that we create that then bring up really negative emotions. I think the source of that, what's under, as we peel back the layer after layer after layer, and ask why do we see the world this way, or why do we feel this way, or why are we sad, or net down? It continuously for me comes back to early traumas that are still healing or have not been healed. And I've actually healed quite a bit of past trauma. And I know trauma is a really heavy word. And when I say trauma, sometimes it's literally like someone made fun of something about me and
Hmm.
I'll call that trauma. Be just because, to label it, it's still sticking with me.
Yeah.
So I think I've healed a lot and I have in many ways let go of a lot of things and things don't bother me anymore and it's so peaceful. And there's always something that needs a little bit of scrubbing still. Like there's still a little bit of dirt on the window that when I see
Yeah.
something in particular, it can trigger me. And so I think the more that we can stop and acknowledge those things that are triggering us or the dirt that is obstructing our view of what's right in front of us, the more we can acknowledge it, name it, and do the best we can to heal. And healing is is not a it might sound it sounds like an easy thing to do perhaps, but it's actually a lot of work. But yeah, whatever steps we can take to continuously heal, then the more peace and happiness that we'll have, of
Yeah.
course.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, Asoji, love this concept, love the word, and I really appreciate you sharing your Japanese tradition with us. So you're going to get started. You said you haven't quite started yet,
Hmm.
but now you're going to get started. That sounds so great. That sounds so great. And I think I'm looking forward to, Danielle and I actually have been talking about when does this season end of our first season of this podcast. I think what we're going to do, if you're listening, we might have maybe today's episode and one more episode in us, and then we're going to pause for the end of the year and we will restart back up in January. And so, Danielle, when we come back in January, I really want to circle back on this topic of what we've let go of and how we are stepping into the new year and how things are going when we connect back in January.
I
So
love
thank you
that.
so
I feel like
much.
this is holding ourselves accountable when we know, okay,
Yes,
we're
it
gonna
is.
circle back on this.
We are gonna circle back. Yeah, you know what? We have hit, if we go back to our corporate days, we've hit the mark where people are now circling back after the holidays. That's like when you start to see the finish line of the end of the year.
Oh
Let's
my
circle back
goodness.
after the holidays.
That's
So that's what
right.
we're gonna do.
Let's use that corporate mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today, and we look forward to sharing more stories and insights with you next week. So, thanks again. Bye.